just know that as I'm filming it, it is January 1st. So I hope you had a really lovely evening last night if you did anything to celebrate, and if not, hopefully it was restful or peaceful or something good, right? That is the hope, that is the hope, that is the hope. I'll talk a little bit about what I did for New Year's too, but I'm gonna start actually a few weeks back because it's been so long since we've caught up. And again, I'm gonna try to make this video as long as I possibly can. That's the goal. Okay, just making sure my mic was on because that would be so bad if I got an hour in and realized something wasn't working. Okay, so anyway, I'm realizing as I'm doing this, there will probably be a lot of mouth sounds. That's kind of what happens when I do this close-up whisper type of thing. I can't help it, I just get all mouthy. Anyway. So the reason also why I want to catch you up on everything that's been happening is because I feel like for these last few weeks, nothing has been going right. And I know they've been saying that Mercury was in retrograde, and honestly, if I can blame all of this on the planets, that's fine with me. I don't know what's been going on, but it's been weird. And I feel like for the past few weeks, everything has been like a logistical nightmare. Things have been falling through. I don't know why. It's just like, obviously things like that happen sometimes, but it was like again and again and again and again and again, to the point where I was noticing it and thinking, oh my gosh, like what is going on? There was a point when I was at my mom's house over the holidays, and I was sitting on the couch and I thought, I'm not gonna move. I'm just gonna sit right here. Because the second I get up or try to leave the house or try to do anything, something is gonna fall through. Something is gonna be closed, or I don't know. It's just not gonna work out. I was just like so done. So hopefully, you didn't have that experience. I don't know what was going on. Like I said, it never really happens like that, but when it rains, it pours, I guess. So, I had a whole bunch of plans for the holiday season, as I generally do. And, my original plan was to head home to my family, to my mom's house. Just like 3 hours from here. It's not terribly far, but I have only recently started doing 3-hour drives again because the knee that I injured and had surgery on is my right knee, which is my driving leg, right? So I've had to really slowly, progressively build back up to driving, because after a while it will start to hurt. So I've made it to 3 hours at that point, and I was like, okay, I can do this, no problem. But I also had plans to see some friends in New York, which is where I moved from 2 years ago now. And so my idea was that I would stop at my mom's first, because that served as like a decent midway point, more or less. I could spend a few days there and then do the other 3 hours to get to New York, rather than trying to do 6 hours all at once. Because again, I hadn't tried it and I didn't know if I could. I didn't know what would happen if that were the case, and if something got really bad and I'm like on the highway, and I don't know, I was nervous about it. Never before this was I nervous about driving. I love driving long distances, but it's been something I've had to work up to. So anyway, that was the plan. And I was also going to have, for the first time was literally trying to eat the birds out of the birdhouses. Like, he was hungry. And after about 3 weeks of that, we were able to catch him and bring him to the vet to see if he was microchipped. And he didn't have a collar, anything like that. He was not microchipped. We reached out to the community forums, looked out to see if there were any missing cats, and it seemed like he was just a stray. So we ended up keeping him, because what else were we gonna do? It's not like it was necessarily something that was like in the cards for me, but it just kind of happened. So he's very cute. He's a little tuxedo cat, a little tuxedo cat. And he's precious, but he is a big ball of energy, and we couldn't leave him here for the holidays. So I took him with me. It's a long-winded way of saying I had a cat with me when I was traveling. So again, the original intention was for me to stop at my mom's as a midway point so that I could do 3 hours, rest for a few days, do another 3 hours to get to New York. But shortly before the trip, I tested positive for COVID. And I think I know how. I think it was our staff holiday party, which I kind of wish I just didn't go because I was nervous about that to begin with. I feel like any kind of holiday function is just, it's risky, you know, and I know I had all these plans, so I was nervous about it, and I was right to be nervous, because I did test positive and, like, was symptomatic as well. And I've had COVID before, despite having, you know, the vaccines, the boosters, whatever, trying to take, you know, generally good care of myself. But I got it regardless, and that took me out for a few days. I think it was at least 5 days that I had to hang back because I was symptomatic, and then I started to feel better shortly after. But that essentially crossed out my plans of having that, oh, do you hear that crack? Having that crossover plan. And instead, I had to just do the full trip in one night because there was a reason also for me going to New York. It was an event that we were planning to see. A few friends of mine and I in the city, so luckily I was better by then, but again, just nervous about the drive, so tons of traffic on that drive, but honestly it was okay. Like, my leg was fine, and now I know that I can do that, which is great. I didn't really stop, so I was happy about that. But yeah, it was a long drive with a lot of traffic, which is to be expected during the holiday season, so I wasn't surprised about that at all. But, you know, it's still not like a fun time, you know what I mean? So anyway, get to New York, and the next day is the day that we have our plans in the city. And again, that ended up being kind of like a logistical challenge for whatever reason, like trying to coordinate with everybody. I don't know why, it was just like see that until like right before. So that was my bad. I just wasn't expecting it, but luckily my friend works in the city, relatively closely to the show, where the show was going to be. So we were able to add that into the agenda to make it to her office so I could go log in and print my tickets. Whatever. So we get there, and by that time we're doing okay on time. The doors are gonna open in an hour, like at this point. So we have just enough time, and so I log into my ticket master account after several failed password attempts, mind you, because I can never remember my passwords, which is another problem in and of itself. But either way, I get into my account, and at the top of the page of my order, it says that the show has been cancelled. Cancelled. I found out later that Pete Davidson canceled a whole string of his shows due to unforeseen circumstances, is what all of the venues were saying. He didn't give a reason. So I don't know what's going on there. I've been reading up on Reddit to see if anyone has any idea. Could be anything. I know he's also working on a lot of other projects and has struggled notoriously with mental health, so it could be any number of things, but it was a bummer because that was really what steered the entire direction of the trip. Don't get me wrong, I was happy to see my friends and to have some time to visit, but I probably would have moved like the dates and the timing around a little bit had that not been a factor, and then we weren't able to go. But it is what it is. Shows get canceled all the time, but I think that was like the first one I had gotten a ticket for that got canceled. That hasn't really happened to me before, but anyway, everybody gets refunds like at some point, I think this month, so it is what it is. But of course we were like literally there already, so whatever, just chalk it up to a messy time, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, that was a relatively short trip, but it was nice getting to see people, and then I headed back to my mom's so I could spend some time with some other family members. Nothing too big or fancy or anything like that, but it was good. I remember there's this one particular day where literally everything went wrong that we had tried to do. I don't know why, it just was that way. I had finally convinced my mom to go to the gym with me, which was a little bit of a drive because where I grew up, there wasn't a ton around me, it was like very rural. So we would have to go to different towns to do pretty much anything. And so I am like a Planet Fitness member, so I can go to any Planet Fitness, right? But my mom is not. But I because some people called out or like didn't show up to like relieve her or whatever. I don't know. They were short-staffed, and so she ended up having to work like 3 hours later, and then had to work super early the next day. So she kind of just like had to bail because it was too much, which I totally understand. So we just moved it to like another day, and that was fine. But yeah, like I said, just, I don't know, weird. Oh, and then probably the worst thing that happened, this was the following day, or I think this was the day after Christmas, actually. We went to go visit my grandmother because she had forgot a gift for somebody. She had like come to our house previously but forgot something at her house, so we're like, oh, we'll just come get it tomorrow. And that's what we did. And my mom ended up leaving her bag at my grandma's house, which, you know, like you think about what's in a bag. It's like money, credit cards, health insurance cards, ID, you know, like important things, right? But by the time she realized she didn't have it, we were already back home. And again, like, similar to stores and things, like, she doesn't live where my mom lives. It's not far, but it's like at least a half an hour away. So by the time we got home, she's like, I don't feel like going back to get it. Which I didn't either. I was like, you can go back, but drop me off if you're going, because I'm done being in the car. So we're like, whatever, we'll just get it tomorrow. We're not going to do anything else today. So we wake up the next day, and my mom is like, okay, so let's go back and get my bag. I'm like, okay, cool. And then she's like, after that, we're going to go to the hospital. And I was like, what? What do you mean we're going to the hospital? She was like, yeah, I'm having really bad chest pains and I'm scared. And I was like, okay, when were you gonna tell me this? And she was like, I was just gonna wait for you to wake up. That day, I slept until almost noon. Like, she could have woken me up at any time. At any time, she's just sitting around waiting, having chest pains, being afraid she's having a heart attack, and she's not telling anybody. Are your parents like this? Like, do you know people like this? Because it drives me nuts. I'm like, you should have woken me up the second that you felt this way. Like, I don't care if I was tired or if I, you know, wasn't getting a lot of sleep. Like, that's pretty important. I can't. Why am I blurry? Why am I? Okay, there we go. Mom stuff, I guess. So, not to bury the lead here, like, she was fine. It ended up being okay. I think it was like a combination of things. Like, there was like a lot of stressful situations happening within our family at the time. A lot of family drama that was out of our control, but still like causing a lot of stress. And I think it was that compounded with some other things. But it wasn't like a heart attack or like a cardiac review everything and to call her in to like a room to talk to her and talk next steps and, you know, whatever. And it never happened. We waited for 4 hours, and she just got so fed up at that point that she's like, we're leaving. Let's go. And I was like, are you sure about that? And she's like, yeah, I'll just call my doctor tomorrow. So, truly awful. And we saw some truly horrifying things in that emergency room. Like, nobody should have to wait that long to get urgent care, you know what I mean? Like, and I get it, it was right after the holidays. I know that everybody is short-staffed. Like, I'm not saying that the nurses or doctors are doing anything wrong. It's just like this healthcare system in general it's not working. Like, it's not sufficient. And I was getting so angry at all of the people in the room that I saw with like all of these very visible, painful ailments that were just being ignored. And people were leaving as well. Like, we weren't the only ones to leave. Like, we were watching people leave. People who definitely should not have been leaving. But they're like, we're not going to be seen. And so I hope that they tried to go somewhere else. But at the same time, like, I don't know how much better it would have been. You know what I mean? So that got me really heated. Like, there was this person who came in, literally broke his hand at work, was bleeding everywhere. Sorry, trigger warning. I'm talking kind of about gross things. Briefly, I won't get too deep into anything, obviously, but this guy broke his hand, and he came in holding it, like running, holding his hand. He was in so much pain and bleeding because, you know, like, it wasn't just, I don't know how to not say this in a really gross way, but you get what I mean. Like, he broke his hand and there was blood everywhere. Like, just, you get it. And so you would think that he would have gotten like some immediate care, and they did take him in to give him, I think, some like shots, like to help with the pain. Like, they put it in his hand, I guess. And they brought him back out to the waiting room. They gave him a trash bag, like a hefty white trash bag, to put on his lap so he didn't bleed all over himself. That's what they did for him. They didn't cover him up. All they did was administer something for pain, throw him back in the waiting room, and say good luck. Like, the doctor will be out to see you at some point, or to call you in. He was there almost as long as we were. Like, he was in, I mean, I guess, like, not critical, right? Like, it's not like he was there dying, but I don't know. If that happened to me, I would have had a panic attack, like, before I even got to the hospital, because I'm not good with that stuff. As you know, I've had health issues that I've not been good with. And he did take it like a champ, but I don't think it's okay. It made me really sad. He's just sitting there waiting and like trying to make small talk because he's like, you know, he's nervous. Like, he's bleeding everywhere. Like, what are you doing? And he was like, yeah, I mean, I definitely need surgery. Like, and I know you can't necessarily get that to happen right away, but again, I'm just frustrated by the whole system. There was this other woman who had a surgery recently at that same hospital, and I think she really waited too long to come back or to contact somebody because her stitches were so infected, you guys. They were so infected, like black. Like, her whole leg was bright red. It was swollen. It looked hot to the touch. Like, oh my god, I felt so bad for her. Like, I could, you know, you can like feel the pain almost when you see something like that. And I was like, please get this woman in there. She was an older woman too, like, awful. And she was with who I presume was her husband. And he got sick of waiting and he left. He left with her. And I don't think she wanted to leave, and she should not have left. I really hope she went somewhere else because you see something that doesn't look right with your stitches, with your healing process, like, let us know right away. And there was a moment where I discovered that one of my stitches was popping out in a weird way. They were dissolvable stitches, but sometimes, it's common that they don't. And so one of my stitches was popping out of my leg. Sorry, I'm sorry if I'm being disgusting. I kind of talk and I don't think, and it just comes out, and I realize, like, oh, maybe that's not something somebody wants to hear. My bad. But it was coming out of my leg, and I called to let them know. I wasn't worried about it, but I was just like, is there something I should do? Like, should I cut it? Like, what? I don't know. And I'm not even kidding you. They're like, yeah, we'd like to have you come in. I'm like, okay, I can schedule a time. Like, what works? And they're like, oh, can you come in now? They're like, we want to make sure everything's okay. And I feel like that's how it should be, because their immediate concern was, well, this could get infected, because that's basically an open wound, right? Like, it's coming out of my leg. At any point, that could get infected. So, no joke, I was in like 15 minutes later, and they took care of it for me. In and out. Done. And I just wish I didn't have to feel lucky for that. I wish that, everybody could have care like that. So, anyway. I'm not gonna dwell too much on that, but all of this to say, it ended up being okay with my mom, and we went back home afterwards. It was like a full day excursion to the emergency room. There are many other things that we saw there, but I don't really want to share more, because it's these are dark stories, and we should lighten it up a little bit, I think. So what else? Oh my gosh. I'm just thinking of things randomly that I feel like I need to this is like such a vent session for me right now. So I'm hoping you're enjoying it, but I feel like whenever I go to my hometown, I get nervous about seeing people from my high school. And it's just, I don't have, a million good memories from that place, and there were a lot of people that I didn't necessarily have, like, incredible relationships with, right? Like, it was your typical high school with, like, the jocks, the cool kids, like, very cliquey, right? And so whenever I'm in my hometown, I'm like, oof, I just don't want to see anyone, just not the best memories, and I don't like being fake and doing the whole, like, oh, how are you? We should get together. Like, we know that neither of us want to get together. It's just awkward. So I was out at a bar with my mom, my cousin, my mom's friend. We were just hanging out, catching up. And a gaggle of men walk in, and my cousin was like, oh my gosh, that looks like, a group of guys that I would have seen in my high school. And I look over, and I'm like, oh my god, that is a group of guys from my high school. Like, I knew pretty much all of them. And I was like, oh no, this is nightmare fuel. Like, I am not wanting this. And it's not like I was out. I know this doesn't matter. But it's not like I was out looking particularly good. It was like a lazy day. I had like a crew neck sweater on, like a beanie. I just, no makeup on, no nothing. Granted, I never wear makeup. I'm not wearing any now, but I just, was there. It was like a holiday themed drink. I think it was called Peppermint Kiss. And I mean, it was like essentially what it sounds like a peppermint Hershey's Kiss. It was chocolatey, pepperminty. There was like chocolate sauce on the rim of the glass. It was so good. And I feel like drinks like that are so dangerous for me because I have a thing for chocolate. I always have. I'm a big chocolate girl. And a drink like that, it doesn't even taste like alcohol. It just tastes like a chocolate milk to me, but like fancy, you know? And so I can just slug them back, you know, because again, I love chocolate. And that's not how you should drink a drink like that. It's just really not. But luckily I also had a lot of food with me. So I didn't feel like I had to just keep drinking, you know? I feel like sometimes that happens. I get hungry or peckish and I'm like, well, there's no food here. I guess I'll just have another drink. Like, that's, you know, no good. So anyway, that was one of my at-home and my hometown excursions, and I will say something that I found particularly odd was that the person that sat closest to us at the bar that I went to high school with, I saw him the last time I was in my hometown as well, which was so odd to me because I had not seen him since high school at that point. And now the last 2 times I went home, I saw him. He was going to get an oil change when I was going to get an oil change. What are the odds? And that's easily something I could have done while I was here at home. But for whatever reason, I ran out of time or something, and I was like, oh, I'll just do it when I'm visiting my family. Weird. And so he was there. But something that's kind of funny is that he wasn't actually able to get his oil changed because he had driven so many miles over. They were like, we're sorry, sir, but we don't accept vehicles that are 10,000 miles over your whatever it's called. But he was 10,000 miles at least over where he was supposed to be, like when you're supposed to come back to get your oil changed. He's like, okay, well, where can I go? And they're like, I don't know. Maybe call a dealership. Like, we can't do it. So I thought that was kind of funny. Like, luckily, I wasn't in that bad of a situation. Like, my oil change was fine. Whatever. Anyway, I feel like I'm just going off on so many tracks right now. Let's see, what else can I talk about? The day before I left to come back here to my home, I went and got some smoothies, and that's where I was when I filmed my last video for you guys. So just lining up the timelines there. That was the day before I came back here. And that was a pretty good day. I spent it with my mom. I got lunch with my grandma. Nothing too loony happened then. But again, like I said, there was just so much family drama that was going on. And it was, you know, outside of my mom and I were still very intertwined, right? Like a lot of it happened within our core family unit. Some of it more, you know, extended outwards. But we're in a situation where it affects us, and yet there's nothing we're able to do about it. And I'm not gonna get, you know, I'm not gonna get into detail about it just because it's a lot, and yeah, it's just too much. And it's a little too close to me, I feel. And then there's some of it that's not, that's just wild, and I'm like, what? I am related to these people. And I mean that with kindness, because I do love my family for the most part. I do. I really do. You know, you always have a few family members where you're like, oh my gosh, gotta hang out with you again. But they're luckily much, 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 much farther removed. Much farther removed. So anyway, overall, it was a pretty stressful time. Stressful, and nothing went right. But there were glimmers of goodness throughout the trip, so I was happy about that. It wasn't all bad. And none of it was necessarily like excruciatingly bad. It would have been if something actually had really happened to my mom, but for the most part, just little like annoying frustrations, you know what I mean? So it could always be worse. I'm sorry that all of my joints are cracking right now. I don't know why. I haven't made a video in a while. I guess my body's not used to being back up on the mic. I don't know. Kind of funny. So let's see. Then I got back home here in Vermont. And one of my friends from New York came up as well, so we could all spend New Year's Eve together, which again was last night, and that was really fun. We went out to dinner a few times. We did a 1,000-piece puzzle. In 8 hours we finished it. We did most of it the night before, but after we were up way too late. It was about like 4 a.m. and we're like, okay, let's sleep for a few hours and come back to this. I don't know what it was. We were so determined to finish that puzzle as soon as possible. It was really cute though. It was like a record store, like the outside of a record store. Super cute. So I really liked doing that with her. And honestly, we just spent a lot of time hanging out, playing games, watching movies. Nothing too outrageous, which is good because I think everyone was a little bit tired from holiday stuff. And then last night we spent some time with our neighbors. They hosted like a little shindig and had a jam session. There was lots of music playing, which was fun. And then we went to a bar for a little bit. They were hosting an event, like a New Year's Eve event with music and food and, you know, the whole 9 yards. So it's just a cute little place that we go semi-regularly. It's nice, it's upscale. So we were able to dress up, and there were four of us that went out. We saw some people we knew, and that was fun. And then we went back to our neighbor's house to ring in the new year with them. We got back like 15 minutes before the clock struck. It was really nice. We threw confetti and had some drinks, and more music was played. It was nice. Then I came back home and chilled for a bit and played some more games with my friend, because anytime that I drink, which is not much and it's not often, like I drank last night and I probably won't have a drink again for, you know, multiple weeks. It's few and far between, but with that said, something like a New Year's Eve party where I'm having more than one drink, I'm always really conscious about staying awake to ride out any possibility of a hangover. And this is not foolproof. Like, if I were to actually drink too much, I don't think that would make a difference, but I always make sure to stay awake, to have water, have snacks, relax, because I know that when I fall asleep and I'm a little woozy or whatever, I will wake up feeling awful. So I stayed up late again last night just to make sure I would feel okay today, which I do. Sorry, I feel like I keep hitting the mic, but actually I'm hoping it's a little bit relaxing. My nails are pretty long. skin like tight and glowing and all the things these people were saying about it. I was like, it can't hurt to try. And honestly, it has been working really well for me. I've only been using it for a few days, to be clear. Only a few days, but I'm really liking it so far, and I'm gonna keep using it. So I took a shower maybe an hour ago, and I have not put anything on my skin since then. Nothing. Like, no moisturizer, no makeup, nothing. And I feel like my skin looks pretty good. Like, I'm not just trying to gas myself up and be annoying, but I feel like once I put this mask on, my skin feels really good afterwards, and I feel like it looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna keep using it until I change my mind. I don't know. But if you're interested, it's really easy to make. I boiled 2 cups of water, and I poured it into a mason jar that was filled with 1/2 cup of ground flax seeds. Once the hot water was in there, I stirred it for about a minute, and then let it sit for just a little bit and popped it into the fridge for about 24 hours. And then when I took it out, it was like a gel. And so, if you're weird with consistencies, that one is a little weird. It's like a thick gel that you just rub all over your face, but if you wear it like you would any other face mask, it does all of the same things. It will tighten up your skin. It has this nice cooling effect, and then you rinse it off and your skin feels so moisturized, so tight. You know what I mean? Like, it really got in there. And your skin's your biggest organ, right? So it's like you might as well take care of it. And a problem that I have with face masks in general is that they're not very good for sensitive skin, at least the ones I've tried. And my skin ends up getting really red. It's burning hot because it's too strong for me. And a lot of them are honestly filled with chemicals and toxins and stuff that's not good for your skin. So I'm really hesitant about using them in general, even though I love to use them. So I figured this is a great alternative. I can start making my own. And I thought the door just opened then. And it's been a really good alternative so far. So anyway, I'm gonna keep using it. If you have questions, if you're interested, let me know. But I've been really into it lately. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. What else can I talk about? I guess New Year's resolutions. I spent some time journaling yesterday late afternoon, and I wrote down a list of my goals for 2024, as well as a list of my affirmations for 2024. And I'm feeling pretty good about it. I feel like there's always more things to be adding, but I am hoping 2024 I'm hoping it's a good year. I don't want to say last year was bad. It was not bad. There were just many challenges. I'm hoping that while there's a lot I do want to accomplish, I'm hoping it's somewhat smoother sailing than last year. Not to say I'm not going to put in the work and do what I can do to, become a better version of myself, but I'm hoping it's just a little bit easier than last year. So, we'll see. I definitely want to better tend to my garden. I want to get back into doing that. I had planted some new elderberry and blueberry bushes last summer before I got hurt, and I'm excited to see how they do this coming spring when they pop back up. We also have a baby tree that's growing, and I do have a garden for veggies that I will keep using. So excited to get more deeply involved with gardening once the time is right for that. I definitely want to spend more time making content for YouTube, because I know that has been falling off, and it's just, like I said in my last video, it's a prioritization thing. It's like I have all these things I want to do that I struggle to get done, and okay, there was music, but now it is stopping. Classic. All these things that I want to get done, that I feel like I get overwhelmed sometimes, and then it's just things fall to the wayside, and it feels like there's never enough hours in a day. But it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. What else was on my list of goals? Definitely getting back into physical fitness, because that has also taken a back seat with my injury. But now that I am cleared to do yoga and jogging and biking and all of the things that I used to do, I want to get back into it, like in a real way, because I've just been frustrated with myself. This has been such a long recovery. I'm now 6 months post-op, which is great, and I do feel much better than I did, but at the same time, I'm not 100%, and I've heard that it really takes about a year to get back to feeling normal, like your normal self. And I believe it, because I still struggle with certain things. I am not back to my 100% normal self, and it's possible that I never will, right? There are certain things that might not come back to me, because they really tighten things up in my leg. They want to make sure that I reduce my risk for injury in the future. So I get it. I really get it. But it's, sometimes a little disheartening when there's something simple that I'm trying to do and it's painful, or I just physically can't because my leg won't bend that way or that much or whatever. And it's really all just a waiting game. It's about just continuing my stretches and working out and seeing what gains I can make. But I do have just one more physical therapy appointment scheduled. It's happening next week. This week or next week. I gotta check on that, but it's my last one, which is crazy. And then I'm technically graduating, so I'll be done with my little program, which is a full 6 months. And if I was doing something more intensive, like, I don't even know, like if I was a pro athlete, say like sports was something I did for a living, I would be in PT likely for another 6 months. Like, it takes a while to get back to being that, physically capable. Because, like, what I was approved for is, it's not super intensive stuff, right? I guess jogging is the thing that is the most intense of that, in terms of, like, the pressure you put on the knee. And I know there's a word for that, and it's, escaping me, but, yeah, I'm not in the same realm as somebody who is working out, like, in a very intense way. I'll just say that. But I do notice that jogging is super hard for me right now. I get sore pretty much instantly, like my leg gets so tired. And it's just, I have to keep practicing, and I will, and it will be fine. But it's just, not totally out of the woods yet, and that's the way it is. But I am really grateful that I am functional, right? I'm able to do, like, the essential basic things that I need to do. So I'm happy about that. I'm definitely myself in that mental space, but either way, it's good. It's all 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 good. But I would love to hear if you have any affirmations or New Year's resolutions, anything that you want to do in particular. Like I said, I have a whole long list. I can't think of what else is on it right now. I'm like having stage fright. I just can't remember. I don't know. But I would love to hear what you've got in store for 2024. I'm hoping it's a really good year for you, for me, for everybody, I am wishing you an abundance, an absolute abundance of joy and health and wealth and love and friendship and happiness and fun and all of the good things, all of the good things, all of the good things. I think that pretty much sums up where I've been in the past few weeks. And like I said, I have some other videos that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to try to get this one up right away because it's been so long since I've put up a long form video like this. So I'm going to focus now on getting it right up on YouTube. But then I'm going to go back to the list of other requests, and get cracking on those. And I do have some outside of that list that I also have written down that I want to make sure I get to as well. So all in due time, these things will come in no particular order. But I am working on it. So please trust in that. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm trying to hit exactly 60 minutes, but I don't know if I will. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do have any other requests, like say you didn't leave a comment on my last video when I was asking for them, let me know below because I will keep compiling. It's always good to have ideas, and I want to know what it is that you want to see, right? I don't want to just put out content that nobody really wants, you know what I mean? So I want to make sure that it's something that is valuable and beneficial to you. So if at any point you see me making stuff and it's not exactly what you're looking for, just let me know and I'll try to do what I can, within reason. Within reason. But okay, I'm gonna stop rambling now and try to get this video up for you. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night or afternoon. I hope you have a really beautiful 2024, whatever that means for you. I hope all of your dreams come true. And as always, so grateful for you for taking the time to watch, for being a longtime supporter. It means so much to me. If you're not subscribed and you want to see more content, please feel free to do that. It is always much appreciated. And with that, I will let you go, and I will say thank you so much